Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Open University.
Welcome friends. On behalf of the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University Ahmedabad, I welcome you to this online lecture series. Today we are discussing paper 8, which is types of professional news writing, and we are discussing unit 2, which is digital journalism. And today we'll be discussing about long form content in online media. And this lecture, as you know, is for Master of Arts students of Journalism and Mass Communication. Now, you might have heard about this term, long form content. What do we mean by long form content? Now, most of the content these days, as you would know, is not long form, it's short form content. For example, if you see Twitter, it's just 280 characters. Or even in newspapers, you do not have content which is of all those articles, they are much shorter than they used to be. So all the articles you see in newspapers is maybe 300 words or 400 words or whatever. Long form content is much longer than that. There is a particular definition of long form content. I'll come to that. But before that, let's talk about what a long form content is. So long form content is typically characterized by articles exceeding 700 words. There was a time when most of the news articles would be much longer, but as people's attention spans became shorter, as newspapers required more spaces for advertisers and so on and so forth, and as the cost of printing newspapers increased, and for a variety of reasons, because of the fast-paced life of people, the average news story size has gone shorter these days. So an average news story, for example, would be just 300, 400 or 500 words. But long form content is much more. So it exceeds 700 words, and many pieces of 2000 words or more are considered as long form. So just 700 for many is not a long form story. If it is more than 2000 words, only then it is long form content. So if it is it depends on the media, but generally it has to be longer than a normal article, and it has to have lots and lots of, as you can understand, research based elements about backgrounds and all those kind of things. So what this long form content, whatever be the measure of long form content, it could be 2000 words, as we said, or more, or even more. So this allows for in-depth exploration of topics and detailed storytelling. So you can have lots of ways in which you construct your discourse and you come to the conclusion, or you come to the persuasive part of the communication. So many of you might have heard about this prestigious publication called The New Yorker, and their articles range between 3000 to over 10,000 words. So they run pages after pages, and they offer an extensive coverage and analysis on a wide array of subjects. So it's not limited to any kind of one kind of a thing. So these long form content could be on anything. That why do people spend more times on internet these days, or why are we having films with less music these days, or why do people take up sports, or whatever. It can be on anything. But the point is that it's longer, very long, because the idea is to provide detailed coverage, detailed explanations and things like that. So that's different from other journalistic content. And we get it in magazines also, because magazines have to, by very nature, they have to provide content, or they have to provide explanations about what has happened. So the immediacy of the news is probably not that important, but a detailed understanding or a detailed exposition of the news is probably more important. So we get magazines probably with longer articles. And even the online media, as we know that the online media has lots and lots of freedom for writers to choose any kind of a format they write. So the long form content is very easily amenable to the online infrastructure as well. So traditional magazines, as we know, have been long known for their extensive long form articles. And you would have recalled that when we read a newspaper, we waited maybe till the end of the week, or at certain times magazines would come out in 15 days. So in a week or 15 days, we would wait for a magazines to come in, and through that we would get more in-depth analysis and thorough investigations and comprehensive narratives, what other people have to say, and so on and so forth. So if you wanted to know detailed things, you went to this long form article. In the digital realm also, long form content is enhanced with multimedia elements, and this includes images. So a lot of those images are digitally available. In fact, many of these images can these days be created through artificial intelligence programs as well. So in your long form content, you bring in images, you bring in graphics, you bring in audio clips, and you even bring in video, and that's how you enrich the reader's experience by providing additional context and engagement. Often this is one affordance that the digital media has, and you might have noticed that when you read digital media content, that if there is an article, you might have said that it takes 5 minutes to read, or it has these many words and this takes this much time to read. So this reading time estimation is important, because by that you know that okay, the reader, we expect him or her to have this kind of a time to read or to consume the long form article that we have. So there has been a lot of software which has been developed, which tells you, so it's no longer just the word count, but how much time you read. And I'm sure you would have come across such content where they talk about the time which is available for or the time it takes for readers to read that particular content. So software has been developed to estimate the time required to read these articles, and this is based on the word count. So just put it on the software, it tells you that how much time it will take to read that article. And this innovation reflects a strategy to engage readers for a longer but reasonable duration, because we cannot expect them to be there for a very, very long amount of time. So you want them to be there for a reasonable duration, because just putting out content is not enough. You have to have content which is relevant, which is engaging. So this enhances the connection with the content. We want readers to engage with the content as much as possible. So this correlation, this relation between reading time and engagement is evident in online readership trends. So we get a lot of those statistics about online readership trends, where longer reading times often translate to increased reader interest and interaction. So it has been seen, and it might appear quite strange at times, but if people are reading something longer, or they're engaging with the content for a longer amount of time, that means they're more interested, and probably they interact more with that kind of a content. So much of this long form content, it has been popular with certain kinds of readers, especially when they want more than just superficial stuff, or when people are more interested in those niche kind of content, they go for long form content, because as we know, in the online media, it adopts various kind of techniques. For example, it could be having an interactive poll, it could be having other links, it could be having video content. Lot of this online content is, of course, you will see a link, or maybe a YouTube window opens up where people can see what the video content of a related article looks like. So that is one of the reasons why long form content has been extremely popular with readers and people who use the internet. So over the past decade, long form content has gained significant popularity in the online sphere, and as I said, there have been a lot of statistics to prove that. So there is this very popular platform, BuzzFeed. So they hired a dedicated full-time long form editor in 2013. So the very fact that a platform which is popular among the youth and among the millennials, and they think that the long form is something that works for the audience, and that's very important. Very often we assume that a certain thing might not work with the young audience, But when we see actual reports or when we see the actual research, we see that it's not like that. It's much different. So the fact that platforms like these, they have adopted a long form, or they've employed people to edit long form pieces, means that even the young people or the young audience, they are very comfortable with long form content. So we've have a lot of these platforms, and there are I've named some of this on this slide. So you might have come across this platform known as Medium. Say they utilize these time estimating problems to indicate expected reading duration for their stories. And the feature, it helps readers to select articles that fit their available reading time, and that's very important because that choice has to be there with the readers. The readers know that this is going to take 30 minutes. So for example, if he or she is traveling in a metro and he knows that this article is for 30 minutes, he or she can put aside 30 minutes for the travel time to consume that content. Or it can be the audio infrastructure as well, and you might be seeing people putting on their headphones and reading certain things while they are traveling. So there are all these organizations which utilize these time estimating programs to indicate expected reading durations. So long form on Twitter, you might have seen, it's a new trend. Certain kinds of accounts, they're allowed to put in longer content, and that's a feature which is not available to all users, but it has been extremely popular for people to get into details of a particular issue. So earlier we knew that people went to Twitter just to have a very a small understanding of what was happening, and times it would be if there was more information, people would use threads. So thread 1 would be just the information, then second, third, fourth, or whatever. Anybody who wanted to read more information on the Twitter, they would go to the thread 2, thread 3, thread 4, thread 5, or whatever. And there were even software available which would allow you to unroll those threads so that you could see them all on the same PDF. And other times when they had to add to whatever content, they used links, that okay, this is the information that we have, and if you want to provide additional information, it is there available on this hyperlink. So that was how Twitter used to run. But they realized that if people go out of the platform, they might not come back. So for example, if they're clicking onto a link, they might not come back to Twitter again. So that is why Twitter started this long form Twitter concept. So the evolution of Twitter, which is traditionally being known for its brevity, for its short character count, for its short blogs. So as we've seen in an earlier lecture, that we call them as micro blogs. So this has evolved, as we said, into a platform for long form storytelling, where people can use it for longer kinds of stories to tell. So this as we know is not for every kind of content, but for a certain kind of content it is longer. So this shift is embodied in the long form Twitter concept, where stories are told through extended not through extended threads like earlier. You can put it in one single tweet as well. So just to talk of this multiple tweets or extended thread that has been used, and that is something that everyone can use. So the other form which I was talking about was for certain kinds of users. But if you or anybody, or if I want to put in, say for example, 10 different ways in which you can improve your communication. So you put a series of tweets, maybe one after the other. I put that this is one, and then next other. Or I can reply to the earlier tweet and put it in the thread. So I put one tweet. Beneath that tweet, I put maybe this is the first thing that you can do for communication. This is the second thing you can do. This is the third thing. So this is a kind of an approach to a unique approach to long form storytelling, because there are many things that you can do with that how to do correlation in statistics, for example. So you can use the long form content by putting in threads 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this, as you can understand, is a unique form, and this kind of enforces, and there are lots and lots of tweets. I'm sure if you go to the Twitter, many of these you will see is about threads, is about more than one tweet. So that again kind of explains the importance or the popularity of the long form structure. So this is how long form structure is used on platforms like Twitter. So it demonstrates how platforms known for short form content are adapting to the demand for more detailed and nuanced storytelling. So online long form content. So readers have it's important to understand who are the readers who engage with long form content, because all our journalistic output or all our writing output or all our blogging output is based on who is the target audience. So it's very important for us to know who the target audience is when we are talking about a particular form of content. So this relation between long form content and reader demographics, what is their age, what is their income, on which platform, do they use Android or do they use iOS, or do they use it on a PC, or at what time, and so on and so forth. All this information is important. So long term content has a specific appeal specifically to readers who seek depth and comprehensive analysis. So this is about an audience that values detailed journalism, and they invest time because they have time to spend on the platform. So they invest time in understanding complex topics. And for advertisers and media planners, the extended engagement time is attractive because we have a captive audience. We have an audience who is there on that platform for a longer duration of time. So you might have seen those long form contents often punctuated with advertisements in between text, because advertisers are looking for people who have time or who have the bent of mind to look into this content, because otherwise you would be skipping through advertisements. So for advertisers and media planners, this extended engagement time of readers is very attractive. So it suggests a demographic of high quality readers likely to be more engaged and informed, making them a desirable target for certain types of advertising. They are a desirable target for some kinds of advertising. So what are these advertising opportunities? So we have to get a hang of who are the advertisers or what kind of opportunities are available for them. So the extended nature of long form articles, as we said, provides ample opportunities for integrating advertisers without disrupting reader experience. For example, when you're having a short news feed, and if you place in an advertisement, it might intrude into, or it might interfere your reading or your consumption activity. So when you place it after a few paragraphs or alongside the content, that's very important, that there have been a few paragraphs have come, and then you place an advertisement or you place it besides it. So the long form content is very good for advertisers, as we understand. And if it is good for advertisers, it is good for content producers as well, because that is one very easy way of monetizing content. You have the ability, or you have the option of getting money out of content, because if people are not engaging, if people do not read advertisements on your content, then you don't get paid for it. So for shorter news feeds, it might be a problem, because people just skip through the news and they go to the other news. So ads there might be disruptive, but in long form content, ads are perceived as part of the reading experience. It kind of gives you that commercial break, where after some reading you see an advertisement and then you come up. And this acceptance opens up lucrative opportunities for advertisers, especially when the content is shared on social media and other platforms. So they have this long form content, they share it on Twitter or on Facebook or on Instagram or whatever, so or on WhatsApp. So that's how your reach increases, and this is seen as very good for advertisers. And it's very important for people creating long form content to know the importance of SEO. You have created a content, and if it doesn't show up in people's search results, then it is useless, then it is not going to be what you desire. So you have to adopt the right techniques of finding that, okay, if somebody is searching for these kind of things, I provide them with these keywords in my description, so that if somebody who is a potential reader, he is directed to my content. And that's very important for a content producer, as we said in an earlier article, that you have to be very good with technology as well. Because if you are not very good with technology, you would not know how to reach out to the audience. Because if you do not reach out to the right audience, then all your creation is of no use. And that is where the search engine optimization comes in. This SEO optics come in. So search engine optimization plays a very crucial role in the discoverability of long form articles. So long form article, due to its comprehensive and detailed nature, it tends to rank higher in search results because it is relevant to the query. So if you are searching, for example, how to drive a car, and there is a long form article, so there will be a lot of words which are related to that search, or you have the option of using many more keywords in your article. So in SEO, we put in all those keywords at the right places, so that whenever a person is searching, those keywords show up and he is directed to that kind of a content. So the high ranking of long form content in search engines is partly due to the potential advertising revenue it can generate, because the system knows that it can generate good advertisement revenue. So consumers or people who have been shown, or who have been known to consume long form content regularly, they are directed to it. So they can tend to keep readers engaged for longer periods, and that increases the likelihood of advertisement interaction as well. So if advertisement interaction is there, it is good for the platform. For example, if it is happening on Google, it is good for Google, or if it's happening on Facebook, it is good for Facebook. And it is also good for the content creator, because he gets a part of the revenue as well if advertisers content is being noticed or is being acted upon. The shelf life of long form articles is huge, because as we know, it provides with detailed analysis and those kind of things. It provides a detailed background, it provides a detailed exposition of why a certain thing happened, or what led to this, or what are the ways in which it can be related to other things. So there is a lot of shareability of those articles. Even years after a long form article has been written, it is something that does not lose its shelf value, because it is not just about the information, it is about the whys and the hows as well. So you know why a certain thing is happening, or how a certain thing is happening, and so on and so forth. And that is why you are aware that this will be used long later after it has been created. So long form articles have a longer shelf life, because shorter news pieces, they once the news cycle is over, or once people have lost interest, it does not remain as important. But long form articles possess a longer shelf life, because they are well researched, because they are detailed, and it makes them relevant and valuable for extended periods, and this can often span over a year or more. So this prolonged relevance increases the value of the long form content, and it makes it as a resource that readers return to and reference over time, because you can come again and again and again to research over it, and you also to get know more about, or to know in a detailed manner about any event, about any issue, or those kind of things. So this enduring nature is especially advantageous in an online environment, because content otherwise can become very quickly outdated. But if you are having long form content, any researcher or anybody who wants detailed information can come again and again, and he can get access to that information as many times as he wants. So that is why one of the advantages, one of the major advantages of the long form article is its longer shelf life. And we spoke of freemiums in one of the earlier videos. So often people have to pay to read certain kinds of articles. Long form content provides you with, or provides advertisers, or provides people who want to get money. So paywall, as you would know, is that there are certain content that you can access only if you pay for it. For example, there are certain newspapers which you cannot read unless you have subscribed. So if you click onto the link, they say that you subscriber pay this, or pay that for a month, and so on and so forth. But if you have a long form article, it can have a very kind of a different kind of an approach where you have some part of the content free and the rest of it probably can be behind a paywall. So you provide some kind of the content. If you want to read further, the reader has to pay more for that long form content. So in contrast to other online news formats, discerning readers demonstrate a willingness to pay for access to high quality long form content, because this is something that they can use, that is usable information, and it is not provided elsewhere. This is something that is very relevant to their work. So they can pay for those, or they can pay money for those. So for other articles they might not pay, but for the long term articles they can pay. So this trend indicates a perceived value in detailed, well researched articles, and they justify the expense of a paywall. So if I am paying for a paywall, I must have a good reason why I am paying for it. And if I know that the content is useful, if I know that the content is something that I need, then I am going to pay for that long form content. The success of paywalls for long form content depends on both the quality of the content and the reputation of the publishing platform. So readers are more likely to invest in content that provides unique insights, comprehensive analysis, or exclusive information. So now let's talk about the trends in the long form content consumption. What has been the trend in this long form content consumption? So recent trends indicate a shift in how long form content is consumed across different digital platforms. Platforms like YouTube have seen a decline in engagement with long form content, because people do not want to see those big movies or big documentaries on YouTube. It has to be shorter. So often educational videos are about 7 or 10 minutes longer in YouTube. Text-based online media such as blogs have increased popularity. So while on YouTube they want shorter content, but on text-based platforms they are available to spend their time or to invest their time on the content that is there, on the long form content. So people are willing to spend more time if they find it more relevant or useful. So this suggests that the format and presentation of long form content plays a very significant role in its reception. So text-based platforms provide a conducive environment for in-depth reading, as opposed to video platforms where shorter content tends to be more popular. So long form content is used in brand promotion and marketing as well. So long form storytelling has found a niche in content marketing, where brands leverage it to narrate their stories from inception to evolution and customer-centric experiences. So this form allows brands to connect with customers on a deeper level, building loyalty and enhancing brand positioning. So the brand narratives woven around the company's history, achievements, vision, they resonate with consumers, and that is why this long form advertising helps in better brand building. It goes beyond traditional advertising. So this corporate storytelling through long form narratives has been very successful, because it provides an intimate glimpse into a company's journey, success, future aspirations, etc. Tech companies, for example, use long form content to outline their historical development. And these narratives are often shared by CEOs or top management, which they talk in the storytelling format. They are not just marketing tools, but platforms for personal connections with customers, suppliers, employers, etc. And they can significantly enhance brand perception and loyalty. So this challenge of fake news is something that we have discussed earlier, and the role of credible news organizations becomes very crucial in this context. So the spread of fake news is not just a consequence of social media dynamics, but reflects the declining credibility of some mainstream media outlets as well. So this underscores the need for journalist integrity and responsible dissemination of information. Thank you for staying along, friends. You are listening to this online lecture on Unit 2 of Paper 8, which is on types of professional news writing, and that's for the MA Journalism and Mass Communication course of the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Open University, Ahmedabad. and I've been recording this lecture at the Chaitanya studio at the Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University, Ahmedabad. Thank you so much.